Ozzy passed away July 22nd, 2025, and I want to grieve with you. Also, 2 bands you don't know yet. Welcome back to Death Metal Pug. Let me show you my diary of a pug man. I want to be a rock star when I grow up. The purpose of this is to have fun and talk about music. If for some reason we can help out your band, project, or business, please reach out to us at deathmetalpug@gmail.com. I'd like to thank Nurgle for being on last week's episode. I'd also like to thank Nate Garrett from Spirit Adrift for our new opening song. His wife has cancer. Go support them. I'd like to start off the show celebrating Ozzy Osbourne. John Michael Ozzy Osbourne, iconic frontman of Black Sabbath and solo titan of heavy metal, has passed away. Revered worldwide as the Prince of Darkness, Ozzy leaves behind a musical legacy steeped in grit, rebellion, and unapologetic grandeur. Born in Birmingham, England, Ozzy's ascent from working class beginnings to rock royalty reshaped the landscape of heavy music. With Black Sabbath, he helped forge the very blueprint of metal. Grim riffs, haunted vocals, and a raw energy that burned through the speakers. His solo career added unforgettable anthems like Crazy Train, Mr. Crowley, and No More Tears. Songs that still ignite mosh pits and hearts alike. But Ozzy was more than his discography. He was a force of nature on stage, clad in black, his arms outreached like a gothic preacher, summoning thunder. He commanded crowds with an energy that felt supernatural. Whether dumping buckets of water into the crowd or leading thousands to the chorus of War Pigs, every performance was a visceral spectacle, equal parts chaos and communication. His presence was magnetic, wild, and strangely tender. A man could make madness feel like a shared ritual. Beyond the music, he became a cultural icon. Through televised chaos on the Osbournes and through his unabashed openness about struggles, triumphs, and the strange beauty of being Ozzy. Fans around the globe saw him not just as a rock star, but as a survivor. Ozzy is survived by his wife Sharon, children Amy, Kelly, and Jack, and legions of devoted fans. He leaves behind not just riffs and records, but the spiritual blueprint of metal itself. As Ozzy once roared from the stage, "Go fucking crazy!" And in his honor, it will never stop. Rest in power, Ozzy. The stage may be quiet, but the echoes will never fade. The last time I did one of these, Ozzy was alive, and now he's not. Ozzy died Tuesday, and it made me sad. My partner, when the news broke, called to check up on me. One thing that's bugging me about this is not enough people are talking about Ozzy's stage performance. When I had AI write that obituary, the first draft didn't even include or mention his performance abilities. The legacy of Ozzy in Black Sabbath and his solo acts is in his stage performance. His enthusiasm, go fucking crazy, raise your fucking hands, I love you all. He would confidently express gratitude, telling the audience that he loved them, not in an insincere kind of way, not in a sarcastic kind of way. He would say, God bless, and he would command a community of metalheads in the 90s from all kinds of background: death metal, new metal, punk, what we now call traditional heavy metal. Everybody was eating out of his hand. I first saw Ozzy in 1996, and he had had a No More Tours tour, and then this was a return from No More Tours tour, I believe, in 96. Noting 1996 because the opening acts were Korn and the Deftones, and I think those guys went on to do stuff after that time. I believe I saw the first 4 years of the touring Ozzfest concerts from 97 to the year 2000. In 1996, I think Ozzfest was part of like a one-off concert or two. And then starting in 1997, it became like a nationwide touring event. So the story goes is that Lollapalooza did not want Ozzy. They were still in their like 90s pretentious phase where like songs can't have solos, stuff like that, I'm guessing. So his infamous wife Sharon Osbourne created Ozzfest. Ozzfest lifted up metal bands. It shined a spotlight on some of the metal bands of the day. In 1997 alone, I saw Ozzy solo headlined Black Sabbath, Marilyn Manson, Pantera, Typo Negative, Fear Factory, Machine Head, Neurosis, Cold Chamber, and Vision of Disorder, if you remember those guys. So, things get a little foggy, right? But in 1998, it was the Ozzfest, and it was the Tool dressed in blue, covered in blue, like Blue Man Group Blue, Tool Ozzfest tour. Ozzy also performed, I believe. Megadeth, Limp Bizkit performed. They had the self-proclaimed giant... Limp Bizkit did. They had the self-proclaimed giant Iron Maiden props that they brought on the stage. And their props were not cool robots from the future that shoot things. No, it was a gigantic toilet bowl that Limp Bizkit brought. That year in 98, I also saw Soulfly, Seven Dust, and Cold Chamber. The second stage in 1998, and you got to remember, like, metal had dipped down in popularity a little bit, right? The second stage in 1998 was Motorhead, System of a Down, the Melvins, Incubus, Snot, who I understand is like having a resurgence now, and Life of Agony. It's funny because I remember like every band on that tour, I think, except Motorhead, and I don't know like why that is. I can't find my like 1999 and year 2000 ticket stubs. It's probably kind of at the point where I stopped like thinking I was collecting ticket stubs, or like was just like less careful about it. 1999 had Black Sabbath back, had the Deftones, Rob Zombie, Slayer, Godsmack, System Again, Fear Factory, Head PE, and a new band called Slipknot. I must have went to Ozzfest 2000 because Wikipedia says it was the first year that Disturbed played, and I distinctly remember the Disturbed's when the Disturbed's first album came out. David Draymond came out in a straitjacket, wheelchaired out in a handcart with like a Silence of the Lambs like face mask thing on it. Say what you want about their music, but that was a cool thing that I saw on that tour that I had not seen live yet. Incubus were there too as well, I believe. And they actually kind of fit into like all the music of the 90s. Like that worked back in the day. What was Ozzy in his 40s by like 1997, like late 40s for those Ozfest? The energy he had was simply amazing. Ozzy was one of the rare heavy music performers that could link the past and the present, originating heavy metal, tactfully navigating hair metal, and connecting to the heaviness that was the 90s and beyond without resistance from like anyone. Anyone at all. My experience in seeing Ozzy and Sabbath many times in the 90s is what I will remember the most. What I cherish the most is Ozzy as a great stage performer. Seeing Ozzy lead the crowd during Paranoid as the band like quieted down, lowered the volume. Na 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 na. It's like quiet in the midsection, and Ozzy just like screaming like, "Come on!" And he's just screaming, just building attention towards the final verse that was just like so amazing. Hearing all those Sabbath songs with modern production, pedals, and just that like 90s guitar sound lifted the songs up even more. Even a song like Sabbath Bloody Sabbath just took on a next level like heaviness in being played at what was like modern day metal music. Oh, those little claps in War Pigs, just so sweet, right? When you would hear that in concert, just the whole crowd, oh, it was so amazing. I had all of those Ozfest compilation CD packs, Ozzy and Black Sabbath Alive. I couldn't get enough of the triumphant return of Ozzy to Black Sabbath, man. I think it's also very important to point out his sense of humor. Yes, a bit British, but very much all of his own. Easily identifiable with and having it a bit like a hair dark and obtuse. It very much added to his like charisma and charm. Even to his old age, like he had a bit of squirreliness to him that remained. It was almost like a twinkle in his eye. I know we've expected Ozzy's death for a few years now, but it still somehow feels sudden, especially coming off the big reunion tour extravaganza, July 5th, 2005. I'm sure Ozzy is smiling at the timing of it all. I hope it's not pretentious, but I honestly believe that Ozzy doesn't want us sad. He would like to know that we threw on an album and went on rockin' the rest of our day. Would you please join me in raising a glass? Thank you for everything, Ozzy. I know you didn't want to change the world, but you did. And thank God the world didn't change you. I'll leave you with this quote from the Prince of Darkness. Go fucking crazy! I love you! Crack open a Roush beer and enjoy the band Pit Lord. Davenport, Iowa, death metal meatheads Pit Lord's latest slab of sonic beef, massive grilling capacity, is seared to perfection feast of sizzling riffs, juicy breakdowns, and enough meaty aggression to turn your earbuds into a smokehouse. Finally, Davenport's known for something. Massive Grilling Capacity was released July 18th, 2025. 11 songs, 40 minutes. We're not altering the song titles or names. This is a barbecue death metal band themed in grilling, smoking, and cooking meats. Some of the past song titles: Gallery of Skewed Swine, Goat Smoker, In Their Darkened Brines, Skewers of Madness, Grilling on Adrenaline, A Glaze in the Northern Sky, and Lashed to the Smoker Pit. Its songs are fun jokes and puns, but the music is no joke. I first got to know Pit Lord from a friend who lives closer to the Quad Cities area. He had shared the Seasoning in the Abyss album with me back in 2020. They've got the chops, but do they have the chops? Big ceremonious track opening, which I like as an introduction to the album, and that's the one they titled Massive Grilling Capacity. The second track, the first real song on the album, Mandatory Burger Side, starts out like a Cannibal Corpse song and it rips. Track 3, my favorite on the album, Meat Cup, slows down a hair with like chuggy, fun riffs and moments. That riff in the section with like a minute to go in the song, where that riff comes up before the end, it's just like pretty awesome on Meat Cup. It's like a down-tuned guitar slide, and it's a great like hooky riff. Like that has actually stayed with me, that riff, since I first heard the album. Every time we say Meat Cup, Death Metal Pug looks up. A little typewriter-y with kick drums, kind of like 2000s era Decapitated, but nothing that's too distracting. I'm always a sucker for that like upper note style tapping, like on the song Matter of Platter. The song Kings of Carnivorous Creation has a cool ending. What makes Massive Grilling Capacity like truly prime isn't just like the beefy riffs, it's the sheer commitments to the carnivorous craft. Every track is tongue-in-cheek but musically legit, delivering more flavor than a Texas brisket brined in blast beats. Meat Cup! One of the fun merch things they do is they sell these aprons. Look, make sure you're fueling your body with healthy foods as much as possible. Nothing is going to improve the longevity of your life and quality of life as ingesting less calories, less sugar, less processed foods. Most of your diet should primarily be fruits, vegetables, mostly. There's actually no logical reason to eat animal meat. Myself, I got hooked on it at a young age, but it is totally legitimate to just eat like plant-like food and the proteins derived from it. Fuel your body with the best possible foods that you can in order to have a healthy life way into the future.
The American Broccoli Council reminds you to eat your broccoli. The benefits of eating broccoli include rich in nutrients. Broccoli is packed with vitamin C, K, folate, and fiber, which are essential for overall health, cancer prevention. It contains antioxidants which may help reduce the risk of cancer by preventing cell damage. Supports immune system. Regular consumption can boost immunity and help the body fight infections. Heart health. Broccoli can lower the cholesterol levels and support cardiovascular health. Anti-inflammatory properties. It helps reduce inflammation in the body, which is linked to various chronic diseases. These benefits make broccoli a valuable addition to a healthy diet.
I haven't seen him live, but a buddy of mine has a few times, and he's the one that hooked me up with the apron. You know, Pit Lord isn't a huge operation here, folks. Sometimes the albums need to be a little bit fuller, and the drums are almost like too tight, but it's awesome, and it's a bit of fun. Test it out. Try the tracks Meat Cup, Done as Shit, and for shits and giggles, check out the song Chili's Baby Back Ribs. The album overall, it actually has like a nice flow to it. It's kind of perfect for like metal barbecues, if that was like a real thing. Side note, Death Metal Pug is a huge fan of the grill. Bloodletter released its new album, Leave the Light Behind, July 25th, 2025. 10 songs, 35 minutes. Hailing from Chicago, Bloodletter is a ferocious thrash metal band from Chicago, Illinois, known for blending classic aggression of 1980s thrash with the melody and darkness of modern extreme metal. Formed in 2013, the founding lineup brought together musicians united by a love of bands like Slayer, Iron Maiden, and At the Gates. That influence bleeds through their sound, a mix of galloping rhythms, dual guitar harmonies, and a snarling vocals that carry both rage and precision. Bloodletter made their debut record with the Malignancy EP in 2017. Their first full-length album in 2018, Under the Dark Mark, is the one that truly put them on the map. The record was a relentless onslaught, furious but focused, with lyrical themes exploring death, despair, and dark fantasy. Over the years, they built a reputation as a tight, no-nonsense live band, regularly performing across the Midwest and beyond. Whether opening for national acts or headlining small clubs, their intensity never wavers. The most recent release in 2023, Bloodletter dropped A Different Kind of Hell, arguably their most ambitious and complete work to date. Leave the Light Behind opens with strong, quick riffing, tight riffing, especially over the song A World Unmade. The album overall has lots of twin guitars layered over one another, like when they do similar notes on top of each other, but maybe a different octave section or a different part of the key or something. Better vocals on this album than the last one, I thought. The last one, they sounded a little bit in the background, in an open room with reverb. Be sure on this album to get to track 5, Unearthing Darkness, and track 6, Hunting Horror. Hunting Horror took me by a bit of a surprise. It just follows a different riffing style and has a great cool vibe about it. The two guitars layer individual notes over one another, with the drums just kind of pumping in the background and moving the song ahead. It's a good one. AI's Crawling didn't bring me back any lyrics or anything. You can kind of understand the vocals though. I feel a lot of what they're doing is it's doing a bit of storytelling actually. Themes of darkness, monsters. The song Black Death, I think, is about disease of the plague, and that's just based off of hearing it, not just off of the title or something. They have a bit of atmosphere to this band, Bloodletter, that helps the thrash not come across as hokey or jokey or something, right? It really adds a nice element to their albums. The track Eternal Winter has a dark atmosphere with black metal tremolos building up towards the thrash kind of moments on the album. I would say this is kind of their signature. It's Bloodletter's interesting sound that separates them from others, in my opinion. Tracks 8 and 9 on this thing are a little bit samey. And then we get to the last song, Night Terrors. It opens with some spooky piano, and then those moody layered tremolo guitars as it moves to the ripping vocals that are storytelling vocals. So it's definitely a highlight on the album. I could kind of feel this album both in the background and then also studied in headphones. I like it. I've only heard it a few times over the last couple of days, but I'll go on to say it's probably one of my favorites from them so far. Bloodletter has a show in Chicago, August 8th at Sleeping Village. Other things I encourage you to check out from Bloodletter: the Monster Thrash single. It is a sped up version of the Monster Mash for Halloween, and it is excellent, and it's part of my Halloween playlist. It's seriously awesome. Look up the song Malignancy. It is basically the thrash metal version of Hallowed Be Thy Name. My favorite album from Bloodletter is Funeral Hymns. It is a consistent, fast, thrash meets melodeath, 30 minutes of music. A collection of very tight, no fat left over in editing songs. Great songs on this, like Burnt Beyond Recognition, with its thrashy riffs and pummeling drums driving the song forward. A screaming ending that's very fast and very cool on this song. Most of the songs are 3-minute ragers built on speed. The song Blood, Bone, and Ash is this, but there is first a cool guitar solo or guitar intro. The best hymn on the album and the best song they've recorded to date is the song I Am the End. I love this song. The one time so far that I've been able to catch them live, they've closed with this song. It is just over 4 minutes, but it is a mini epic song. It opens with the twin guitars harmonizing and the bass providing rhythmic bumps. Within a full minute is full-on speed metal. The vocals just spit between the riffs and hammering drum hits. There's even a breather part with an epic solo in the background, building to the screaming of the singer that comes with the best breakdown of their career. Find the song I Am the End by Bloodletter and crank it. No. Hey, we want to show you the Archspire updates. We had bought into the Archspire independent label campaign, so we got in on the package for the merch and everything for that.
Death Metal Pug went ahead and bought in on the largest package that was not equipment, and also we'll add the email that we received on the screen just to prove like we actually did it. We'll try to keep you up to date on the process. Now the video notes this album is written and recorded, except for the drums. You know, remember the whole like thing is expected delivery is spring of 2026.
I just want to run through like the different updates and everything. Death Metal Pug and I want to run through them if you don't mind. So they started a Kickstarter for a campaign to become independent. And then they asked for a whole bunch of money, and we contributed. So we bought into a tier 9 package, and really was to help basically like ante up the money or front end the money for the new album. So we take a look at the update from May 29th. That is when we backed the Archspire campaign. They sent out a notice later in that day that they fully funded the Kickstarter within 12 hours. They sent out an update that we can follow we can follow it, through the Kickstarter kind of thing. They talked about the new album Liminal Cipher. So that I believe is what the name of the album is going to be. They had a studio update that we talked about where they were like starting the drums. On June 16th, the drums were completed. So the drum tracking was all set. I got a notice on June 28th that they had reached its funding goal. So I think what that means is that they just had the broadcast that basically it was all set. They sent out a notice on June 16th that the drum tracking was finished. They sent out an update on June 28th that they reached its funding goal. I got a notice on June 28th as well that they are charging my credit card. So they charged the credit card on June 28th. They met it. And then on July 19th, we got a notice that they are going to be sending out a post campaign survey shortly. So the album appears to be done. The drums are added on. They were looking for that drummer, right? They've reached their funding, and then they're starting to talk about, like, you know, basically my credit card was charged for it, and then what they're going to do is they're going to put all that towards, like, the distribution of their new album. So it's interesting to kind of follow this along. I hope you're enjoying it. It's kind of a unique thing in death metal music, and, you know, it's kind of an interesting experiment. So Death Metal Pug wanted to support them and you know, be a part of it in that way. All caps band PSYCO-FRAME released a very deathcore piece of deathcore music with sprinkles of deathcore. All I could find out about the name is it's like a video game or cartoon or something. PSYCO-FRAME is a technology that builds on the brainwave to machine code translator known as PSYCOMMUNE into the atom level of the metal frame of a mobile suit. Mobile suit? On July 25th, 2025, PSYCO-FRAME released its first full-length album, Salvation Laughs in the Face of a Grieving Mother. This is a very loud, straight-ahead deathcore album. Viciously heavy, unapologetically heavy. No breaks. 11 tracks, 38 minutes of busy deathcore. Some moments of, like, awesome chugs, vocal craziness, drums that pop and sometimes add a little intricacy to it, riffs with, like, drops all over this thing. Two lyrical themes, God Sucks and You Suck. The song, I Won't Be There to Watch You Go, is obviously about a drug addict who can't quit. There's some really hateful shit on this thing. I don't know, like, I interpreted one of the songs as, like, aliens kidnap Jesus or something. I have hiccups, but I'm going to keep going. That vocal style at the start of Necro Terror is what I like about deathcore. That was the excited, faster parts way back with, like, what Whitechapel used to do. And I just like how it flows better on the album. Like, that kind of vocal style, instead of, like, the deep, guttural, like, vocal, death style vocals, the start of Necro Terror is quite the motherfucker. I mean, it's like, although they sport, although they sprout a cool atmospheric black metal logo band. Although they sport a cool, like, atmospheric black metal logo, it's completely, like, recognizable, but also completely undecipherable, which is cool. I think it's pretty good, but I want to hear it on, like, a loud stereo. I'm not usually that into deathcore, but this group really, you could make a point that there's nothing exceptional or oddly interesting about the band, but the fact that it's just pure, unadulterated deathcore done in a very vicious way might be the thing that separates it, quite frankly. This is brutally heavy, and I'm interested to see if it sticks with me for a few more playthroughs. You know, it's been hard to not jam Ozzy all the time, but today, Sunday, did head down to a place called the Burlington in Chicago. Went to see Blind Equation. Caught the matinee show. So it started at like 2:30, 3 o'clock. And I walked out of there at 5:47 here not too long ago. Still got the stamp to get in on my wrist. The first act was a very tiny woman who had, like, bunny ears on her head, I think. And she sat down and she was like a DJ. And I couldn't really hang with that stuff. And went and got a drink at the bar. But do take note of the band CPU Gouda. They played Let me tell you, do you think Full of Hell is mellow? You're like, yeah, those guys are a little chill for me. Check out CPU Gouda. Aggressive. It does have its tender moments. Singer. He was just like hanging out, right? So when I mentioned earlier about going to get a drink, he was out there in the bar. The place, the Burlington, just had like a normal like Chicago bar entrance kind of thing to it, and it looks cool. It's a very cool spot. And then in the back, there's another little door that says "Music This Way." There's a little room where like you pay, and then you go into like basically what feels like a basement or something. So he was hanging out at the bar, and he had like headphones over his head, and he's like this really thin, like small dude. But when that stage, when he went up on that stage, he was full on just into it, crazy pistol. He did a song as well with Blind Equation. I believe it was like their second song that they had, and he was just all in it, just all up in the crowd. And just mixing it up. One of those places where just like so small you could just kind of like get into the crowd. So check out the band. I gotta check them out as well. But just going off the live, what I heard live, CPU Gouda. Let's check that out together. The person that does Blind Equations' name is Steve. And he was at the concert. Well, of course he was at the concert. He was performing his songs. What I mean to say is I was there and I got the opportunity to talk with him. So that was kind of neat. It's interesting. I think there's a lot of connection from like metal guitar music that crosses over to this kind of stuff. One of the things I asked him, I was like, are you a guitarist? Because I hear so much of the kind of like sounds that they make, like the flow of like guitar chugs and how guitar would work, and just like the little keyboard, what would you call them, keyboard sweeps and stuff like that. It just sounds like a guitarist to me. He confirmed it, but he didn't, it was just he met a weird guy at a concert, so he didn't get too deep into it, but that was kind of the gist. And then, we talked about the album, like, it's darker, this one. It's obviously, it has a song called Mourn. It is a mournful album. There are sad points. And just like, what happened there? Like, it seems like maybe, you experienced a loss. And he was kind enough to share that, yeah, he did. It took place about a year ago. And that definitely influenced like the theme of the next album and the direction that they kind of took it. At the concert live, they played mostly the stuff off of the new album. Heard the song Nothing.
All I want to see, nothing.
Just as great as it is on the album, I really thought that just sounded so good live as well. They played the first song on the album as well at the concert today, and they played also the last song of the album at the concert today. Very intense. To me, it's got to be like some of the most like the hardest like electronic music can maybe like get, or we're getting close to, right? Just it's so heavy. There's no guitars. Again, there's no guitars, and I have to rethink like how I explain. Sometimes people are like, what kind of music do you like? And I'll honestly answer, anything that has a guitar on it, in it, with it, stuff like that. Because generally, if it's got a guitar on it, I can get through it, and there's something that I can appreciate on that album, right? Again, very intense, without the guitars, but has a very metal feel to it. Obviously, the vocals are a big part of that. Check out Blind Equations' new album and go see them live. That's it! Death Metal Boy!